as I'm sure is the case for you, there's been so much alive in in my life and the lives of those around me in this region. I'm calling in from Portland, Oregon, originally Kalapuya land. And I recently heard a song that I'd like to share with you, if the audio will work. If not, I may have to sing it for you, which for those of you who know me and love me know that that is my worst nightmare. So we're gonna go ahead and hope that the tech works. But the song may be actually one that you've heard. I haven't done my homework to explore the origins of it, but I do see that there are other versions of it that involve other languaging, including yeah, I'll just say other languaging. And so, but the song involves invoking the desire to be a sanctuary. And so when I first heard this several weeks ago, something clicked for me in a way that, you know, these teachings, you hear them for 30, 40, for some of you, many more years in a row. And then it's just that one day, right? The right time, right place, right teaching, where something clicks. And it's this intersection of how to remain in practice and cultivate this at-homeness, this sanctuary, both for myself and all that arises within me, and thus for others, and then maybe for the work that I do, which has to do with teams and organizations and policies. So both intrapersonally, on an intrapersonal level, what does it mean to be a sanctuary, a safe place, a welcoming place, a place of belonging for all that arises? What does that actually feel like in my body? What are the nuances to that feeling? Is it always super comfortable and yummy? Or does it actually have a level of granularity, as Paul Condon speaks of, and social psych speaks of? Does it have a level of nuance where actually comfort is not the ultimate request, if you will, and the ultimate feeling? Instead, it's a feeling of vastness that actually allows for even the discomfort to be alive. And so too then interpersonally, especially when in presence with others and in presence with at times difficult emotions in others, possibly difficult speech or political view of others, possibly experiences and lived experiences of others that do not relate to yours. How can we be a sanctuary for the kind of we space that's created when with another? And then, as I shared, my aspiration in life is to actually scope that out into a more, so not just intrapersonal and interpersonal, but then also organizational. And organizational could be the organization of your family at the dinner table, right? Or all of your furry pets at home. The organization could be organization of your neighborhood, could be your team at work, could be the work itself, right? But there is this like third level of application here of what does it mean then and there to participate in a place of sanctuary. And I'll just say one last thing before I play the song and we dive into practice. Part of my work has to do with delivering trainings and consultation to folks who work in different sectors of social service and civic engagement. And there's been a request to speak to folks who don't identify as immigrants and refugees, but work with immigrants and refugees, speak to them about what it would be like to engage with the immigrant and refugee community in a trauma-informed way, in a way that actually hosts that space of refuge and sanctuary. And so for some of you who've known me over the years, I was born and raised in Belgrade, Serbia, in former Yugoslavia, and preparing for researching all that we know, and there's so much that we know about the complexity of experience of immigrants and refugees in the Americas, and what would host a more welcoming and ultimately healthy environment. There is this, they call it the immigrant paradox, which is that for a while, when folks arrive here, their sense of wellness, both physical and mental, is actually, on certain scales of measurement, much higher, much more well than people who are native born to America. There is a level of embodied wellness, again, physical and mental. And then the paradox is that with time, and some would say assimilation and acculturation, which Ibram Kendi would form as a kind of racism, the wellness of these folks dramatically decreases, that something happens, and lots of research details what it is that happens, but something happens for people who stay for longer here in the US. Certain buffers, certain supports and lifelines, if you will, tend to diminish. And the disparity in the wellness and health of immigrants and refugees just plummets as compared to people who are native-born US residents. And so how important it is in whatever work we're doing and however we relate to this particular nuance of my share. Maybe it's not immigrant and refugee work that feels meaningful to you. Maybe it's the experience of children around you. Maybe it's the experience of elders. Maybe it's the experience of the dying. This research and this inquiry that, of course, ended up hitting home on so many levels really unearthed this, lighting your hair on fire in order to continue to get back to practice, lit this urgency of we as community, we as individuals, as well as interpersonally and then community-wise, don't really get to kind of sign off or clock out. That at every point in our daily experience, both when we're with ourselves or with others or in our community, we get to either be that sanctuary and that buffering experience, or we don't. And I'm here to tell you that it saves lives when you do. That's how precious of an opportunity we each have. Like, that's how real this is. that this isn't just a immediate, self-help project that finds possibly some relief for a moment, that this is actually like the most important thing ever. The finding a practice that resonates, that allows for us to build up a muscle memory for how to participate in a dynamic that cultivates a sanctuary, that cultivates an environment, holding space big enough to tolerate the discomforts of life, to quote unquote tolerate the politics of others, the differences among us. That it's not just a goodwill that we get to clock into whenever we think of it, or on a Sunday, or whenever our special day is, but it's actually a practice and an experience that we get to, that we have the honor and the birthright to participate in every moment. So I'm going to try to play this song for you. I invite you to, if you are willing, see if you find your voice in it, because at this moment of the beginning of the practice, I would love for you to experience an embodiment, a somatic experience of the beginning of settling into your practice. And so, much like many other mantra practice, that could be with your voice, it could be with your hum, it could be with the swaying of your body, some way to wake up your body if it could use a little waking up. So I will also put the lyrics into the chat, but they're very brief, and the song repeats on several occasions, so you'll catch on for sure. And so we'll listen for about 4 minutes, and then I will pause it and guide us through about a 20-minute practice that you're welcome to find your way through.
Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Just exhaling into that space, allowing the resonance of the words, the sway of the body, the beating of the heart to welcome you into the space of formal practice. Allowing the reverberation to invite a kind of dropping, a dropping below the thinking mind. A dropping into the body. For a moment, making contact with the earth beneath you. Maybe it's literally feeling the ground below you. Or maybe more, it's a sense of feeling in contact with the earth below you. Honoring the land. Honoring all the ways in which the land has held you. And just for a moment, finding refuge and all the ways in which the earth below you will be there at a time of need for you. So whether it's during this practice or throughout your days to come, whenever you feel like you need to just find the ground beneath you, literally or figuratively. You could do just that. Allowing your awareness to scope out a bit beyond the groundedness of the earth, which again is available to you at any moment. And feeling your breath, sensing into its natural rhythm. A kind of ebb and flow of the oceans within you that match the rhythm of the oceans around you. And just for a moment, allowing that settling of the body and the breath. Allowing this sensing of the settling of the body and of the breath to invite a kind of opening of the mind. And in the spacious awareness, you might notice certain aspects of your experience calling your attention, maybe narrowing the focus of your awareness. Maybe it's a particular physical sensation. It doesn't quite have words, but there's a texture, a pulse. Maybe it's a feeling tone that's not quite yet a story or a whole emotional experience, but just a slight jitteriness in the belly or tightness in the throat. Allow any and all such sensations to arise as they naturally will from within your body. And sensing into how any one of them feels from within. In a way, giving a deep permission for it to be here. Fully allowing it and gently welcoming it. Not getting too caught up, but every so often allowing a kind of dropping below the thinking mind back into the experience, back into the sensation, which may for a moment be one of spacious awareness, of openness. Or for another moment, it may seem as though the experience is narrowed for a moment because something is calling your attention. Here for the next little while, we're going to be with that dynamic. The dynamic that even as sensations arise, however granular or not they are, maybe it's a whole train of thought, a deep, developed, elaborate feeling of grief, a slight discomfort, irritation, whatever it is. We're going to practice into fully allowing it, gently welcoming it, without being caught up in it or rejecting it, trying to solve it or change it, but instead being with it like you would a dear friend, quietly present. Allowing the feeling to have all the space it needs. So even though for a moment it may call for our attention or what may feel like a narrowing of awareness, really what we're doing, as Tokyo Rinpoche reminds us, is touching into and then releasing. Allow that attention to touch it and then release back. Show up for it and then be with it. It's not about enmeshment. It's not about an agenda. It's about hosting a sanctuary participating in a space that's large enough for all to arise as it naturally will. And with a deep sense of welcome, find their place and perhaps even release. As a way to freshen up your practice, if your body allows, you might even shift just slightly backward. Find a slight tilt of the chin invites a kind of shift of perspective, a kind of figure ground. Shift. Opening up the possibility of centering something other than any one experience that's arising, but instead finding sanctuary and refuge in the awareness of it, in the being of it, in the we space that's created, just as with a friend, a community member. Perhaps in that space, you'll be reunited with the rhythm of the song or the sway of your body. As if it, just like the vastness of a lake, can hold and welcome any drop of rain. unwinding and releasing any last holdings on. And dropping any doing. Moving into a space of deep allowing, letting everything be.
Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
As you begin to find yourself back in the physical space you're in, perhaps raising your gaze and noticing if there's any thread of connection to that practice of participating in a sanctuary. Perhaps hosting a sanctuary for yourself and the world around you that you constantly co-create. As you meet the gaze of dear ones in front of you, allowing the experience of them to be welcomed into vastness of your awareness, just as they are. Thank you all for your practice. And I hope that this or any other way that you find to be helpful to continuing to cultivate that muscle is available and supported to you today and every day of your life, as it's the most important thing we can do right now for ourselves and those around us. Thank you all, dear ones. Each month, as facilitators, we get to share in about where we would invite any dana to be sent. And so for this month, if you have the means and the inspiration, I would invite you to send any amount of support. Send any amount of support to Gonde, California. It is a sanctuary for many, including me. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you same time, same place in September.